Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 3, Episode 43, Mavic Mini 2, DJI Mavic 3 updates. Hope everyone is doing well. You have me tonight. That's right. You have the A team tonight here. So got a lot to talk about. Got a lot of news. I mean, this is going to be a pretty full hour. So I'm going to want to see if we can get everything jammed in here. Got some breaking news from Lauren about the Mavic 2 or the Mavic Mini 2. First half of November for a release date and a price increase of 14%. And I'll say this again, and we'll talk about this a little more later. More technology, you pay for what you get. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. But Lauren, thank you for that breaking news. Appreciate that update. And that's about what I was expecting in terms of a release date here. I want to welcome everybody. Ridge Flyer 32, Fly Zone Drone. Ted Bowman is here. Ted, welcome tonight. Steve Mack is here. Brad Hendo, Minnesota Drone. Akiriasho is here. That explains. Yeah, we're gonna be getting to that. Intel Maxwell, Multi Rotors, John Olson, Sam Burns. Welcome, Sam. Thank you for showing up tonight. Jaybird Drone is here. Glad everybody's in the house. Like I said, there's just I don't know where to start. We got so much to talk about tonight. And I think I'm probably going to start here first. I got to say this. Hey, Kesteloo's been a busy person. And I absolutely love what he does and the news that he brings to us. And he does a quality job. If you haven't checked out Drone XL, that's where he's at now. Please do so. He does fantastic with this. And hey, as you know, is a good friend of the channel, and our hats off to you. We just absolutely love the work that you do. Now, there was some there's some news about remote ID, and that's going to tie in to something else we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. Now, what they're saying is apparently remote ID is on track to be finalized by the end of this year, which is good news, which will, it kind of like, now, it kind of will bring things into perspective for us in terms of what is going to happen, okay? And we're going to be talking about the Mavic 3 here in just a little bit. But I wanted to start off with this as a newsworthy segment because I think it is newsworthy, okay? Now, it says the Office of Management and Budget has 90 days to review the new regulations, so it appears remote ID for drones is well on track for finalization and publication before the end of the year, okay? Now, I'm going to let you go ahead and read through this article here, but basically, it's just, again, Hayes repeating some of the information that we already know. What I'm interested to find out is if they've done any prototype tests, and maybe we'll see some information on that coming up in the future. So stay tuned for that information. Now, one of the other things, if you guys know anything about today, was a release. Apple released their new iPhone, the iPhone 12. So let's take a quick peek at it. As you know, and our good friend Rick Smith, he's put together a video on it, and the code base for the DJI Go 4 app, and obviously now for the Fly app, it's seamless. It works seamless with iOS. It works best with iOS. It does work with Android, of course, and that's what I use all the time, and I have no problems with it. But people say it works better, and there's been all kind of studies. People have done comparisons, everything. But anyway, I know a lot of you are big Apple fans. I'm an Apple fan. I had an iPad Mini. I've sold that. And we'll talk about that as well. But let's go over and let's take a look at some of the specs on the iPhone 12. I thought it would be good to spend a few minutes. Of course, they have every color in the rainbow. Okay, what can I say? I don't know. Okay, they want to please everybody, so they do have quite a bit of colors to choose from here. Now, one of the things I wanted to, it's going to have. Obviously, it's 5G. My new tablet, my Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is 5G. although I don't have 5G exactly where I live right now. A14 Bionic, the fastest chip in a smartphone, edge-to-edge OLED display, ceramic shield with 4 times better drop performance, and night mode on every camera. iPhone 12 has it all in 2 perfect sizes. 10.1, wow, 10.16, and there's the Mini 11.6. And there's all kind of additional information here. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I'm sure you guys are probably aware, especially those of you that are Apple aficionados here. It's going to be a powerful phone, and I'm sure it will be coming at a powerful price. And just as a side note, will I ever go back to Apple? Well, I kind of like glossed over it with Valerie, and she's like pretty much over my dead body. She's giving up her Samsung phone, so she loves her Samsung phone, and I do too. Okay, don't get me wrong. I wanted to spend a few minutes on that just to make people aware that this is going on, so you know this. Now, one of the other things here, and I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about this. Oh, that's great, Lauren. It's coming to major cities, the 5G, and it's kind of, it's rolling out across the country. I have Verizon, so I'm expecting it'll happen shortly because they've been rolling it out across the country pretty much en masse, and I don't see it taking too much longer before we get it here where I live in Tampa, which is a good thing. Okay, I think that's absolutely positively fantastic. Let's see who else is. Ray Kelly's here. Want to see if anybody else is here. What does it do that the 11 Pro doesn't? Sam, that's probably a good question. It has a better processor, okay, and it's better with drop protection. And I'm sure they maybe beefed up the software a little bit, but yeah, it's just a different flavor, okay. It's going, instead of pistachio, you're going to go for salted caramel, okay. It's still ice cream, okay? It's still a smartphone. It still does its basic functions, and it does it very well. And a lot of people prefer the iPhone setup. But, for me, I'm really entrenched with the Android because I like being able to set things up and do things and have that information available to me at all times. All right, enough of that. All right. Now, Amazon has a sale going on. All right. Now, this also extended. Now, a lot of you, and we're going to go over the article that Hay has on there. DeMarco Moore is here. DeMarco, welcome. Thanks for showing up tonight. Leonard Oglesby, thanks for showing up. Yeah, who needs a DSLR anymore? You're right, Ted. Absolutely. With the way these smartphone cameras are, I don't have a DSLR. Okay, I use my Note 10 Plus. Okay. So you're all aware of, and we're going to get to it in a minute. Amazon Prime has a unbelievable sale on the Mavic Mini. We're going to show that in a minute. What I found out today is, guess who else has a Prime sale, and I got an email on it today. Autel does, okay, and it's pretty good, okay, for Autel. They have a tendency not to share a whole lot with sales, but the Evo 2 8K, normally $14.95, is now $13.89. Okay. Now this doesn't include the rugged bundle. This only includes the Evo 2 8K. Just to let you know that. Okay, and it's valid today to tomorrow, October 14th, 2020, Pacific Daylight Time. Okay. Unless revoked or extended by Autel, with sole discretion, without any prior notice, without any liability. Okay, meaning a lot of times they could run out very easily. What happens there? Okay. Now the other thing is, this will also be on the Evo 2 6K, and let's go ahead and bring that up. You hit the Prime button, and you can see $17.95. It's on sale for $16.99. Again, this is on the 13th and the 14th. So if this is something that you're into, I would be remiss. There is another item on sale with okay, the Autel Evo itself. This is a regular Evo. Okay. Evo refurbished units, $799. I mean, if you're looking to get an Autel Evo, the first Evo is absolutely fantastic. Takes unbelievable video. As you well know, the Autel X-Star Premium was my first drone. So yeah, I would recommend that in a heartbeat. I would not say no to that drone at all. It'll serve you guys. Excuse me. It'll serve you guys really well. Yeah, absolutely. I would not hesitate to recommend that. Well, we want to take a look now at Amazon Prime. Now, they have incredible deals right now. And of course, we're going to kind of segue this. We're going to be talking about I'm going to call, this is not only Amazon Prime drone sale, but we're also going to be kind of weaving in here the Mavic Mini 2 update. And I want to thank Lauren for some late breaking news on that information. So, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and show you what these discounts are. Amazon Prime Day DJI deals. Okay. DJI Mavic Mini combo. There's $100 off on that. The Osmo Pocket is on sale. Osmo Mobile 3, Osmo Action. There's some Prime Day drones that are on sale. Eachine EX5, Holystone, ATTOP, AOVO GPS drone, iFlight Bumblebee, some SD cards, FPV, Lost Drone Alarm, Runcam, 3D adjustable camera protector. Just there's a number of things here. So you definitely want to check this out. This link again. This is on Drone XL's website. So go ahead and definitely check that out. Tying into this, okay. Now, Lauren gave us some news here, which is great news that it is going up. Now, I do want to spend a minute or two on that. Bill Thomas is in the house. Welcome, Bill. Thanks for showing up tonight. Jim's Droning is here. Welcome. David Martin Graff. Jaybird's here. I don't know where he's at right now. So Christmas is coming. Just tell the wife. Oh, I don't know. That DJI Mavic Mini thing. That's the answer, Bill. or as Ken Dono says, it's better to buy it now and then confess later. I think that's a loose translation of what he says. Or the couch is okay to sleep on for a while. Anyway, I don't advocate that, and you didn't hear it from me. Anyhow, okay. Lauren is telling us about this now. And the time frame is something which I was actually thinking as well too. Lauren said the releases move forward to the first half of November and a price increase of 14%. So, I kind of expected a little bit of a price increase. I know when we had Ron and Marcus on, Marcus is saying, well, we're going to have forward and backward obstacle avoidance and everything. Oh yeah, the same price in 4K. Marcus was that. Love his humor. Okay. But when you're doing more on this drone, which we know there will be more on this drone, expect to pay more of a price. Okay. Now it's going to have a beefed up battery, hopefully some better props, better motors to be able to handle the wind. Obviously, and from everything that we're hearing, the big thing about the Mini 2 is going to be the 4K. So, that's, we're crossing our fingers. And it's coming soon. I mean, it's going to be coming soon. So, get your pocketbooks ready, guys. you know, and get your cash ready for this, because it's going to be around the corner. It's going to be coming soon. So, and you know, it remains a very popular drone as it is. And, you know, this will now be a step up from the Mini. It won't be the Mavic Air 2, but it'll be a step up from the Mini. And, you know, because a lot of people have talked about, you know, not having the 4K on there. All right. You know, and I know, and I put out a video today, and you guys probably, in case you haven't seen it, it's called DJI Mavic Mini Last Flight and Why I Sold My Drone. And you guys can take a look at the video. But, you know, the one thing that even in 2.7, it looks great. Okay. It really does. I amp it up to 4K. You know, I have a 4K monitor on my Samsung over here, and you can tell it. You can see it. It looks great. Okay. Whenever you do that, of course, you know how long it takes to upload those to YouTube. It takes forever, but it's worth it when you take a look at it, especially if you have a 4K monitor or television to watch it on. It really does make a difference. Yeah. So, you know, the big thing is I'm hoping, besides the 4K, and the thing for me is, okay, you know, you can watch, you know, being able to handle the wind. Now, you know, the wind down here in Florida is, well, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go ahead and find a clip for you guys. You know, the wind here in Florida is, you got to understand, all right? The closer you live to the coast here, the windier it's going to get. It's just a nature. Those of you that live near a coast, you know this. This is a matter of fact. Well, this past weekend, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in Louisiana as after Delta came crashing down. And fortunately, there wasn't a lot of, you know, thankfully there weren't a lot of lives lost, and we mourn for those that have lost lives and the families up there. But, you know, with that, it stirs up the entire Gulf. Okay. Now, you know, Tampa's on the Gulf side of Florida. It's not on the Atlantic side. So anytime there's a disturbance in the Gulf, we get some type of weather here. Okay. Whether it's winds, whether it's rain, whether it's unbelievable thunderstorms, tornadoes. I mean, they come up, you know, you get all the above. Okay. When something like that comes through the Gulf. Now I'm going to try to go ahead and find this here. Now, you know, that's something that you have to learn to deal with when you move down to this neck of the woods. It's just one of those things. And, you know, you kind of have to, you know, you're just like, you know, you grin and bear it, and you deal with it here. Now, let's go ahead and see. I think this will be the best one to show you guys. Okay, it was too short. I'm going to see if I can. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll get this. Why I sold the Mavic Mini. Got that? I think recently, most of you know that I sold my DJI Mavic Mini. Well, if you take a look behind me here today, this is one of the #1 reasons why I sold the Mavic Mini. It really is just a very windy day today, and it. Okay, you know, and again, you know, that's a natural thing down here in Florida. You know, that's one of those things that we see all the time down here. All right, it's just part of living down here. That's part of that. Hey, Jay Bird, thanks for showing up. ABQ. I said this before, even Hollywood videographers, 4K is overkill for almost everything. It is. It really is. And Lauren makes a good statement as well, too. So, hey, Joe's Drone Life. Welcome, Joe. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you're on board with us tonight. You know, so there's a lot of excitement about this. 14% more, you know, but again, you know, realize what you're getting. One of the things that I hope they do is I hope they work the logistics out with the props and the case and all that, because there was a lot, and and I know Lauren knows about that as well too. And I hope they do. I mean, it really is an incredible package. I mean, it was fantastic to be able. Last November, we went up to Ohio, and you guys probably remember that video where I got a selfie of all of us, including my granddaughter, with the Mavic Mini, and it handled the wind up there pretty well. It wasn't extremely windy, but it was a little windy, and it handled it well. And with the changes that they're coming with this, I think this is going to do well. I think it's going to sell real well. The timing could not be better. It absolutely could not be better. Having this come in at this time of year. I mean, it's right before Black Friday, and that it's just it will be a doorbuster. Okay, I expect it to sell very, very well. And if they can up that performance, especially in the wind, okay, with some better props, some better ESC, some new motors, they're using a different type of battery to get a little bit more voltage out of it. It'll have a little bit more power. That might make a big difference, because I'll tell you what, it gets pretty annoying, okay, when you think it's a calm day, you think you can get out there and fly. I'm at the other end of the lake. I get high wind warning. Okay, so I keep flying. I get a second one. Then I get a third one. Okay, and it's like by the time you get the third one, you better come home, because as Marcus had an example in one of his videos. He had a tailwind going out, but he had a headwind coming back, and he had to land his drone and be able to go rescue it, which he was able to do. But you need to be aware of these kinds of things. Okay, and fortunately he did that. And when you get it once, okay, and you get it twice, you better start paying attention. Third time, you better just bring it on back in. So that's what I did. But anyway, that's exciting. This is coming. This is something that we know. It's on the FCC. The two big signs, you guys know. I've gone over before the signs that you're looking for. Okay, we had the FCC Grant ID database here. Okay, and the current drone is on sale. Okay, and it is, and that's a killer sale, $100 off. Okay, it's like if you're looking for a drone right now, and it's a starter drone for that kind of price, don't even hesitate a second on it. Okay, don't hesitate a second. So with that, all right, we got a Mavic 3 update. Now, Hey put out a good article the other day, and I'm going to go ahead and go over that now. We're gonna start. Actually, he put out two articles. He put out one the other day, and he put one out today. We're gonna go over the one that he put out the other day first. Okay, new Mavic 3 unlikely to be released before the summer of 2021. And now here's a quote. When we wrote the new Mavic 3 would be delayed until Trump is gone, DJI responded with the following: there have been no plans to launch such a product this summer, and we do most certainly not schedule or reschedule product releases according to political events in the U.S. or elsewhere in the world. Okay. Now, there was some additional information that Hay received from his source that said DJI will not release the Mavic 3 until the FAA finalized their regulations. In fact, DJI actually stopped all engineering on the Mavic 3 before it was production ready, with final prototypes in case they had to retool for a broadcast signal. So even once DJI decides they are a go, they still have at least 4 to 6 months of development. So this is where we're at with the Mavic 3. All right, just to kind of give you guys a time frame. And there was a reason for the delays here, okay? And there was a reason that we didn't know what was going on. And it tied in, remember, we talked about remote ID at the beginning of the show here, and how it's going to be finalized by December, by the end of the year. Well, this is 100% ties into that. This is the reason DJI is postponing the release of the Mavic 3. They want to be able to incorporate remote ID. It would absolutely be foolish of them to come out with a product and then the FAA comes out and says, well, yeah, we're doing remote ID. This is how it's going to work. This is what you're going to need to do in it. And, it would cost DJI a lot of money to do that. Okay. So they're making a very wise decision in this instance here. So, and definitely go out and read the article here. There's no specs on it or anything, but Hey did put out another article today. Now, the final product, Mavic 3 rumored to feature mechanical shutter and enhanced low light performance. The new DJI Mavic 3 is said to offer the following features: a mechanical shutter option, indicating again there will likely be two versions of a Mavic 3, like a Mavic 3 and a Mavic 3 Pro. Okay. Multiple new software algorithms made by Hasselblad's team, referring to Hasselblad's Natural Color Solution, HNCS. A larger field of view. The current Mavic 2 Pro offers a field of view of about 77 degrees according to the specs. It will offer enhanced low light performance and reduced noise in photo and video. And it will not feature a micro four-third lens system. Okay. One of the things for me, and I gotta say this with you guys, you're right, Joe. The Mavic Air 2 is doing real well, and that's another reason why they're delaying the Mavic 3. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. But with the Mavic 3, with all of this, one of the things that I wanted to say right away was this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we haven't been getting a lot of what I would call good Florida sunsets. Okay, we did the other day, and I was able to get up, and I only when the light is that low, I only go to one drone, and it's the Mavic 2 Pro. And you can probably remember, Ron Brown and Ron was down in Florida last year, and we met at Reddington Beach, and we got some incredible footage out there. And Ron was amazed at the low light capabilities of the Mavic 2 Pro. That's why he ended up getting it, was because of that. I basically sold him on it while he was there. But the light was pretty low. I still had probably 20 minutes of time left in terms of half hour after sunset, because you're allowed to fly then. So got it up in the air, and I adjusted the gimbal down. Remember my rule of thirds, and it was beautiful. I think you guys have seen it. I know I've got a lot of comments on it. It was a spectacular sunset, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. And there wasn't a lot of light. And that's one of the reasons, to me, that's the best feature of the Mavic 2 Pro. Its low light capabilities are better than any other drone I have. And I'll say that even better than the Phantom 4 Pro. Okay. Its low light capabilities are fantastic. Now, match this with what DJI is going to do with a Mavic 3 or a Mavic 3 Pro. Wow. Okay. It's going to be even better. All right. And it's just, it just, my jaw dropped when I downloaded it. Okay. So I did it in 4K 30, and just watching that, I had Valerie come in and watch this, and she was like, wow. Okay. Because it's just that stunning. Okay. And that's and that's from the Mavic 2 Pro, 2-year-old drone. All right. Guys, this Mavic 3 is going to be the bomb. All right. It really will. But, we got to wait. Okay. It's going to be probably summer. I would say August, maybe September next year. We could probably figure a release for that, because the time, if you figure 4 to 6 months to, to build a prototype, to test the prototype, to get production ramped up, to get parts, all of that, there's a number of things that have to come into play with something like this. So, wouldn't be a drone to fly, but a cinematic camera that flies. Joe, that's a great analysis. That really is. I think that the Mavic 3 is probably going to be more geared towards the consumer. The Mavic 3 Pro is probably going to be geared more towards a professional videographer, cinematographer, photographer, that type of thing. But when it comes out and when you get the specs and everything, look over everything. You can make that decision on your own when you're going out there. But realize too, as Lauren told us, with his 14% price increase on the Mavic Mini, there's going to be a price increase on the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Pro, guaranteed. Okay, I'm going to say you're going to start looking in a ballpark, easily of probably about $2,000, okay, at a starting point. And I would say a Mavic 3 Pro, you're probably going to look at maybe $2,500. These are just guesses off the top of my head. I have no idea, okay? DJI doesn't even know, but that's just a guesstimate based upon the feature sets that we're seeing here, okay? So stay tuned. You know, there'll be a lot more news coming out about this, but I wanted to pass this information on to you guys. I thought it was important to get this out. I think everybody, you know, needed to know this. I think this was a good thing. You know, we'll see. All right. You know, it's going to make this very, very interesting here. Is the Air 2 in trouble with new laws coming? Will the Air 2 become obsolete in December? No, the Air 2 is not going to become obsolete. Now, understand what happens in December. Now, let me back up with this, okay? And I'm going to put the article back up here, okay? Now, what this means is, and let me, my mouse would cooperate here. What this means is they are just finalizing the solution for remote ID, okay? They have not, you know, this is what they have worked out, and this is their solution, okay? It's not going to be implemented at this point, okay? It's their solution. Now, and obviously, because drone manufacturers like DJI, like Autel, and others are going to need to know this information in order to add these components onto the drones to be able to make them to work, okay? Now, you know, there's a whole lot that's going to come into play with remote ID. You know, one of the big things that's going to come into play with remote ID is going to be that, you know, the software that's going to be involved and whoever's going to manage that software. And that, again, that's unknown. And I'm sure we're going to have to pay for this. You know, that's just a foregone conclusion. But, you know, will it lead to safer flying? That's the goal. That's the goal of this. Now, again, they're only going to come up with a solution by December, okay? It doesn't have to be implemented, okay? I don't expect this to be implemented probably until, you know, middle to late next year, as far as that's concerned. And will it make our current drones obsolete? You know, that's always a good question. But for example, remember, you know, in the United States, the Mavic Air 2 has ADS-B on it, all right? So there is some form of knowing when there are other aircraft in the area and help you avoid that. So, you know, that's where that is. So I wanted to go ahead and share that with you as well. Drone Mod BR, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Phantom Series dead except for Enterprise editions. That's true. Lauren's right. And, you know, and it makes sense, okay? With, you know, because there had been some talk about, you know, Phantom 5 getting started up again and everything. But realize this, okay? And you can see my Phantom 4 over there. It's behind my shoulder back there. You know, it's a fantastic drone, all right? It lacks in one area. Portability. It is not a portable drone, all right? It really isn't, all right? It's a drone that you can locally, you know, if I go in my truck somewhere and want to take it to film something, it's an easy haul. That's not a problem. When you're flying and traveling somewhere, that's a problem, all right? And it's not the kind of drone that's very portable. Now, these other solutions that they have, you know, these enterprise editions with the RTK and so forth, you know, they're probably still going to sell very well because of the mapping capabilities that it has. It's going to be indispensable with that. So, you know, that's something that will do real well as far as that's concerned. Yeah, foldable is the new thing, Jay Bird. I mean, you know, and you see what DJI has gone to, okay? You know, when the Mavic Pro, the original Mavic Pro came out with that style, okay, they're keeping with that style. You know, you saw, you know, the Mavic Air went from, you know, a style that people really liked to kind of like a miniature version of the Mavic 2 Pro style, all right? And, you know, it makes sense, you know, what they're doing here. You know, the product lineup is they're doing this well, and they're strategic about it. I know you guys have heard me say this time and time again. There's no accidents at DJI. They do everything strategically. They think things out. Okay. And, the Phantom served its purpose. All right. It is an incredible drone. And I'm going to hang on to mine for a while because it's probably going to go up in value. It's not going to go down in value. And it's still a great drone for what it does. And the thing I like about it, it has that 360 obstacle, that obstacle avoidance on there is incredible. Of course, when I fly in my backyard, the whole world goes off, because of everything, the way my backyard's shaped. You guys know that. Oh, good job. Sam sold his Mini with GPC case for $500. Took about 20 minutes. Yeah, Sam, mine went very quickly too. And, people love this drone. Well, look at the Mavic Mini group. If you guys are a part of it, I get upwards of 50 to 75 people join that group every day. All right. It's just absolutely fantastic. I think it's just, it's great. And there's been a great exchange of information in there. Okay. And I think that's good too. And I think people, you want to be able to find out things, and you get a lot of people who haven't flown drones before. All right. So, it really makes a difference when you can come into a group where it's helping you out and you can understand these things. Okay. So, that's where that is. Fly Right Drones. You bought another Mavic Mini. Now you have 4 drones. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. But, and let's, while we're at it, we're on DJI, the Mavic Air 2, and Joe brought up a good point. It's selling so well right now. Okay. That's one of my fastest growing groups because, people absolutely love that drone, and for under $1,000 for what you get for that drone is off the charts. It's incredible, right? It is absolutely incredible. You can't complain about it. And for the software update, for what they've added to it, and the capability and now being able to use with a smart controller, I mean, wow. All right. That's just, it makes it the drone down. And I think it's going to sell real well at Christmas too. I think that's going to be a good drone. And that's a great step up from a Mavic Mini or, with the Mavic Mini 2 coming out, and that's going to be real interesting. That's going to be real interesting to see if the dynamic changes for selling, in terms of sales, if that's going to eat into the Mavic Air 2 sales a little bit. I don't know. I think it's going to be, some of us who get it, go out there and review it and post videos out there. I think that's going to be important for people before they end up making a decision on the Mini. That's just my 2 cents worth. Okay. That's what I'm seeing with this. All right. That's where I'm at. So, Marcus is in the house. Welcome, Marcus. Thank you for joining tonight. Yeah, it makes sense. And, one of the other things, I know what I wanted to talk about. The Fimi group. We just passed 2,000 people in the Fimi X8 SE 2020 group. So and I got to say this, all right? It's an international group, and the cooperation in there is absolutely fantastic. If you got the Fimi X8 SE 2020, join that group. Metro Jones, Bill, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's a great thing with the Fimi, and I haven't had a chance to get the Fimi out lately, and you can see as I showed that to you, it's like, when you get that nice weather, you need to take advantage of it. And unfortunately, it seems like when the nice weather hits, it's during the workday. Okay. And I can't get out there and take advantage of it yet. So, and usually on weekends, it's like the wind starts picking up, and the best time to fly is early in the morning before the wind starts picking up around here, because you can tell the lake. And when that wind is starting, as the sun rises, that's when the wind starts, because it's the uneven heating of the Earth's atmosphere, of the surface of the Earth, And when that happens, you can start to see the ripples on the water, and that's like, it starts to get to be to a point where, that video I showed you guys, I couldn't even fly my Phantom 4 Pro or Mavic 2 Pro. It was just way too windy out there. It wasn't gonna work at all. So, but yeah, like I said, there hasn't been a lot going on with the Fimi X8 SE 2020. And I've been kind of keeping a tab on, people that had purchased the Fimi X8 SE 2020 versus the hang on a second here. So I just sent. We're gonna have a very, very special guest here. Not really. He's not. He's a very special co-host. He's going to join me here in a second. So I'm interested to get some of his takes on some of this. Marcus, how are you this evening?
Hey, not bad, Bill. Yeah, just got done with about a 2.5 mile walk. So,
good for you. I take about a 3/4 of a mile walk in the evening. So that's always a good thing. Lauren gave us some breaking news right off the top with the Mavic Mini 2.
With the pricing?
The pricing and the availability, when it's going to be available. What do you think of that?
Well, I want to see what the U.S. prices are, right? I mean, who really knows? So I'm thinking, if they put it about $450, and then if they put the Fly More kit at $550, it's still doable. If it's any higher than that, it really will make it, you might as well buy the Mavic Air too. Now, of course, there's always the portability of the Mavic Mini in there. But you know me, Bill, I'm a huge fan of that Mini.
Oh, yeah.
It is the things that it does for me is it's so compact and easy to carry and easy to deploy. I just think it makes it, and it's very low key. You're not, you don't run into, nobody even knows you have it up in the air, right? So it's not obvious to people that you're flying a drone, which unfortunately is something that we all have to take into consideration from time to time. So, and Lauren is saying we'll have to pay the tariffs. So yeah, that, who knows what that could be. And if that's the case, they could price it out of the market. The thing is, I know DJI, I'm sure that their marketing people know where it needs to be in order to sell. And obviously they're trying to get the holiday season. So, knock on wood, we can only hope.
Yeah. And, the timing is great because, and I think last week when we talked about this, I said, if they can get it before Black Friday to be able to have it available for Black Friday, that is going to be a winner, for places like Best Buy. Okay. Now, I don't know if you also caught Autel is having a sale. They're having it's $100 off on the Evo 2 8K, about $100 off on the Evo 2 6K, and then the Evo 1 refurbished is $799.
Well, yeah. So we have a good friend that just bought an Evo 2, the Pro version, the 6K, and I think he got a pretty darn good deal. And we had this discussion. My concern about that, and you touched on it earlier, Bill. I caught your part about the final rule on remote ID. I want to know what that is before I spend that kind of money on a drone, right?
Yeah.
And clearly that's what DJI has on their mind too, right? That's why they're not kicking out the Mavic 3, because they want to know what they have to do. So
I thought it was brilliant for DJI to do that, Marcus. It made so much sense because, as Joe brought up, you don't want to mess with the Mavic Air 2 sales right now, because that thing is still selling really well. And with the holidays coming up, that's going to do really well. And you want to wait till remote ID is finalized. And then, it's going to take what Hay said in the article, 4 to 5 months for production to get everything up to speed, to get prototypes out, then to start testing and all that. So it's going to be late summer, probably. It's probably going to be September-ish, October-ish next year, which is fine, because by that time, they'll have incorporated remote ID in it, and we'll have a better ID and a better handle on it.
Yeah, and I try not to get too negative about it. It's so easy for us to go 0 to 60 on what remote ID is going to be. Hopefully there's some give and take. What I would love to see is if we get BVLOS out of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a pretty good trade-off for me. I can tell you that. When I fly out at the canyon and stuff like that, if I knew that I could be okay flying beyond visual line of sight, that even if that requires a certain amount of more licensing and so forth, I would be fine with that.
Oh, I'd be fine with that too, and I think a lot of us would. And one of the things with with this remote ID, one of the things, and I talked about it before you joined. I really am anxious to see a prototype of it in action. Something that obviously, because they didn't just put this down on paper like when they originally did the whole remote ID proposal. They had to sit down and actually physically build something and build this network and figure it out. So I'm anxious to see how that actually is going to work out.
I can't even guess, Bill. I
know.
I thought it through and figured out how they're going to do it, trying to think of schemes on how they're going to get that done. Hell, I don't know. I mean, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
The electronics and everything. I just, just everything, just all told, just figuring it out. It's just going to be crazy. Got to ask you a question. Okay. Did you hit the buy button on the iPhone 12?
Well, I likely will. I can tell you my wife currently has the 10, so we're for sure going to get her a 12 Pro. And yeah, I'll probably get that 12 Pro Max. And I'll tell you why, Bill. For me, 5G hasn't been that big of a deal to me so far. I mean, my phone seems like it's plenty fast for what I do, but the additional stability in the camera, I love cameras and mess around with them. So that's kind of the attraction for me. So yeah, I'd likely do it. I want to see what I'm with T-Mobile. So I want to see what T-Mobile, they'll no doubt come up with some kind of promotion. And if they make it compelling, yeah, heck yeah, I will.
Well, see, it's like and this is funny because what I do, I've done this before and it works out great. Best Buy usually has a buy one, get one. Okay. So when we got the Note 10 Plus, but you had to get the second one, had to be a new line. So that was a piece of cake because all I would do would be, okay, I'm going from AT&T to Verizon. And then next time around, another year when we go to switch phones, going to go from Verizon back to AT&T, and keep doing that. I mean, my loyalty to carriers is like, Marcus, I could care less as long as
yeah, absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, they could care less if they're in it for the money. So
yeah.
Yeah.
They're making their money with that, so, but the Mavic Mini on sale, on Prime. Wow. I mean, that
is a steal. And I would love to know how many of them they sell, because that is just what a tremendous value, and good on DJI for doing that. I know it's in their interest to clear out their stock and stuff, but what a fantastic drone for starters. Bill, you and I both mess around with the Fimi X8 SE and the and the Xenos and so forth. Man, they don't even fly nowhere close to as good as that Mini does. Now, you made a good point on your recent video about flying in the wind, and that is the caveat. If somebody knows, for instance, our friend Ron Brown that lives on the coast, he has a lot of wind. Well, the Mini, often he can't fly it because of the wind. So he has to, and so I can understand why somebody would buy the Fimi or the Xeno. But other than that, that's the only excuse I can think, because
I agree.
The Mini flies so well, and that 2.7K video is just phenomenal.
It is, I shot that last video when I did that, and I looked at it, and it's just like, I had to double check to make sure it was from the Mini. I mean,
Right.
it looked so good, and then I realized it was, and that was the last one I did. Well, you should have seen, the reason we had. I mean, it was really choppy. That's because Delta was in the Gulf, okay, and I was explaining before you came on. Every time we get a hurricane down here in the Gulf, okay, it stirs everything up, and the weather pattern of everybody in the state of Florida is just bonkers for a few days because it kicks up the wind. We get thunderstorms, we get tornadoes, we get high winds, you name it. And then all of a sudden, and then it gets calm and peaceful. I was just saying, I was getting ready to do another Fimi video and I couldn't because of the wind. And I'm like, okay. But then Monday hits and then it's nice and calm and peaceful. Of course, I'm back at work on Monday.
You're at work, sure.
It's like you can't win for stuff like that. So, I don't know. But the other thing that I talked about too was what was it? With the Hey had also put out an article about some of the features of the Mavic 3. A mechanical shutter, better low light capabilities. Marcus, the reason Ron bought his Mavic 2 Pro was because he saw how good it was when we were at the beach together. Okay, he said, "Wow!" I mean, I could literally see his jaw drop when he watched that. And then he said, "Look at mine," and I was looking at his screen on his Mavic Pro, and it was like night and day. Having that capability is going to be fantastic on the Mavic 3.
Yeah, it is. The Mavic 3. What we know is it's going to be a home run. Just DJI is going to put some phenomenal things on there, and we'll have to wait to see it. No doubt the Pro version will be for more commercial, serious people, and then they'll make a consumer version. For me, a mechanical shutter, that's for mapping and stuff, right? It's nothing I'll ever care about. And in fact, a digital shutter is faster. So, for somebody like me, that really is nothing that comes into it. But listen, Bill, I've never owned a drone with a 1-inch sensor. I think that'd be kind of fun to have that kind of capability and be able to get that much light into a sensor, because I have seen the difference between what the Mavic 2 Pro will do as opposed to my Zoom. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, I didn't even hesitate when I had that sunset that was out behind me. Right away, I just grabbed my Mavic 2 Pro. I didn't even think about any other drone to get out there. And it just, oh my gosh, it was just, I was just, and see, that's the thing. We haven't had, for some strange reason, we haven't had really good sunsets for the longest time. Well, I figured I chalked it up. It's 2020. Go figure kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
I mean, that's the only answer I could come up with regarding that. One of the other things I have been getting, and I wanted to run this by you as well. I've been taking a look in the Fimi group, which just hit 2,000 members, by the way. One of the things I've been taking a look at and I've been trying to keep a mental log, and I might do a Marcus Crawford spreadsheet on this. Okay,
there you go.
I think this is worth it. But I've been watching people who have versions built in May and versions built later to see if they've had that interference problem. Okay, and what's really interesting is there's no rhyme or reason to it. Okay, from everything that I've been seeing with this, I really think, and this is just me, I'm not sure about the 2018 version, but I think it's just an inherent defect on the 2020 version. I just think this interference, it's just they didn't shield it right for some unbeknownst reason.
Well, or maybe just the design isn't quite what it should be, right? How do we know? Let me tell you, Bill, since you're on that subject, that's one of the things I just got through charging the batteries on both the 2020 version and 2018 version. And if we get decent weather tomorrow, I'm going to go out and on the Boise River and try and get some of the tree shots, the fall leaf changing. And the purpose behind that is I figured, hey, it would be a really good test to compare the 2018 camera and the 2020 camera. And then I thought, well, I better throw something else in there too. So I'm going to take the the Xeno 2 as well. And so it'll be kind of fun to see the three of those, especially with the trees changing color and stuff. It should be pretty cool.
Now, see, that's the thing down here. And I told Valerie, she's always asked me, what do you miss about up north? I said, I don't miss winter, but I do miss the leaves turning. Okay. Because that's just, the leaves turning, the colors, everything. You just don't get that down here. I mean,
right.
It just doesn't happen. So that's just, kind of like one of those things as far as that's concerned. So, well, I want to go ahead.
Well, I just noticed there were some things going on in the chat, people talking about remote ID and that it could cause theft and so forth. The thing is, we don't know yet. And so what I want to caution people is not to jump to conclusions till we see that rule and then we know what it means. Listen, I just struggle to believe that they're going to let anybody from the general public be able to tune in and know where the pilot of that drone is. I would be shocked if that ends up in the final rule.
Yeah.
If it does, that would be a problem for us, right? And maybe then we would all be flying minis so that we can get under that 249 gram rule. But I suspect, Bill, because it's just what we were just talking about. It's going to be so complicated. I think they're going to have to kind of simplify it to a degree to make it happen on the timeline that they need to make it happen, etc. But who knows, right? That's just me kind of thinking out of the box.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what their final solution is to this. And and like you, I can't help but think I don't think it's going to be too complicated because recognize all these people that are just getting into drones right now. Obviously, a lot with the Mavic Mini, and that won't play into it because it's at 249 grams. But with like buying the Mavic Air, because Mavic Air 2, because a lot of people, a lot of people have joined the group. This is my first drone. Okay, so they're going to get indoctrinated into something that's going to be, it's like they have the complexities of trying to figure out how to fly the drone, charge the battery, do a firmware update. Do gimbal calibration, do compass calibration, format the SD card. They get everything, they get up in the air, and they figured it all out. And then all of a sudden they get thrown this curveball remote ID, thrown at them in their face. And I have to think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think it's going to be too complex. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward.
Did you see Lauren's comment in the chat there? Everybody thought it was the end of the world in Canada when they came up with their rule too. And it ends up now giving them more freedom than ever.
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is we shouldn't panic until we see the rule.
Right. Let's exhale, and then we'll take a look at it because, it's just like everybody push the panic button and all this kind of stuff. But I think, I'm really with you in terms of, I'll buy a Mavic Mini 2 all day long or a Fimi or a Hubsan Xeno, that kind of thing. But the $1,500 drones, the $2,000 drones, I'm gonna wait before I pull the buy button on something like that.
So you know what that rule is going to be, yeah.
I want to know what that rule is going to be.
But Bill, you make another point there. So I would struggle to, you never know. But would the FAA really make all those drones obsolete overnight with the rule? I struggle to believe that they would do that, but you never know. You just never know. I'll give you an example. How about my Skydio? Will that all of a sudden be an obsolete drone?
Yeah. I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. I gotta believe in the grand scheme of things. Okay, I don't think it will. I think that maybe, and who knows, and maybe I'll just conjecture here. Maybe DJI comes up with a remote ID kit that you can add to drones, and drone manufacturers do that. That's another way for them to make money.
So I've thought of that too. That if the FAA comes up, they're going to have to make it so you can it's retroactive. In other words, you can make a kit or make in other words, not to make every drone that's out there obsolete overnight.
Right. And just have, say something that maybe plugs into into one of the ports or something, and you can strap it on at a place where there isn't a sensor, something like that.
Well, Lauren makes another good point there. he's saying, hey, there could possibly be a grandfather
clause. Yeah, Lauren, that's a good point.
Right? And they could tell you, for instance, okay, your current drone is good for 5 more years, without
and grandfather them in, and that makes a lot of sense, Lauren. That's the reason why we listen to Lauren, because he makes a lot of sense a lot of the time. So, but yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen, and don't push the panic button, people. Don't say, it's like, it's not Chicken Little, the sky's not falling, it's not the end of the world as far as drones are concerned. So just ride it out. Let's see what we're getting here, because I know when Ron and you and I and we're first got this, and then our good friend Russ from 51 Drones, he puts out a great video about it, and and it was like, people were talking like it's the end of the world, all this stuff. Let's wait and see. Okay, let's number one, let's see what they come up with, and number two, don't push the panic button here, because as Lauren said, we'll grandfather these drones in. They're not going to make all these drones obsolete overnight. All right, so that's my 2 cents worth on that.
2 thumbs up.
Well, it's exciting now, Marcus, because I don't know if you saw, but that Amazon Prime sale, the Osmo Mobile's on sale, the Osmo Action's on sale. They got a ton of stuff on sale. They got some other drones on sale for their Prime Day sale. So I mean, there's a lot going on right now.
There is. Hey, that you just brought it up. That Osmo Action for $200. I'm telling you, if somebody's looking for an action camera, $200 for that Osmo Action is just, man, that is a steal.
It is. Yeah. It is. The quality of the video that I've got with, it's like I use that all the time when I record. I have it focused on the landing pad, and it records the takeoff and landing of all the drones, and it's stellar, and it works perfectly. And it's just, and then sometimes I'll go out and I'll use it to do some B-roll as well too, and it works great for that. It's just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I mean, and in the accessories for it are cheap. So it's nice. It's so nice that finally this time of year we're finally getting a lot of things that we can talk about. It's been like forever since we've gotten a lot of products that are going to be coming out, a lot of talk and everything. So finally we're getting some news at this point.
Well, you heard Lauren talking about how DJI had a company, I guess, initiative that they said, hey, we're going to war, and they're going to push out a bunch of products, and they're really want to hit the ground running. So, and they're a powerhouse already. So yeah, there should be some good stuff coming.
That's a good thing for us. So you got any closing thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I think we about covered all ends of it. I will say that hey, this is a great time of year to fly your drone, folks. The leaves are changing. It's the weather is more moderate. You're not going to have to worry about your drone overheating or your phone overheating or anything. Get out there and fly and have some fun, because winter is coming.
Yeah, winter. Well, actually, and I got to say this, okay? A lot of people think, oh, yeah, you guys get it real easy down in Florida. Well, you know what? Ends up like, I'm going to say late December, January, February, we can get nights where there's frost, okay, down here. And we can have 30 or 40 degree days down here. And you know what the funniest thing is, Marcus? Because I was raised up north like you, okay?
Right. And
lived up north almost all my life till I met Valerie. People put on like these Himalayan parkas and and the hoods and stuff, and it's like 40 degrees out, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
But I will say this, down here in Florida, because there's so much moisture in the air, when it's 30 degrees down here, it really kind of feels like it's 20 because of all that moisture in the air. So
hey, I want to answer one person in the chat here. Jim's Droning is saying Canadians fly in the winter. You know what? Here in Idaho, we do as well. I fly all winter long. So, if it's not snowing, when the snow is coming down, it's a little tough. Other than that, yeah, you can fly a drone.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess for me, first and foremost, again, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in Louisiana because they've got hit like twice, in a couple of weeks' time from, now Delta hit them. I know I pinged Johnny Alfonso, and just to make sure he's doing okay. And he said the storm didn't hit him. So that we're thankful for that. Fortunately, not a lot of loss of life. I mean, and one life is too many. But fortunately, there wasn't a lot. A lot of damage, a lot of cleanup needs to happen, and just remember these folks because they're going through a lot. And thankfully, the hurricane season is winding down here. But it's like, Marcus, I can't remember since I moved down to Florida, all these hurricanes that are just like making a beeline for like Louisiana right now. I mean, they're not even thinking about making that turn. And see, that's the nice thing about where we live in Tampa, because a hurricane has to come in and make a turn around like where Naples is and make a turn to come in to hit us from the side. And that's why living here, it's probably one of the better cities to live in Florida, because it really doesn't get a lot of that direct hit from hurricanes. But I mean, Louisiana and Texas, the coast up there, they've just been pounded this year. So, thankfully, we remember our thoughts and prayers are with everybody up there, and hopefully, this situation will get squared away. Again, with everybody, going on, everybody stay safe out there. Some areas are better with COVID than others, and just mind just follow be safe. That's what I'm going to tell everybody. Just be safe at this time of year. Hopefully, we're going to turn a corner eventually, and we're going to have vaccines, and we're going to have things that are going to help us out. So just hang in there. I know sometimes it's rough for everybody, but let's just like Mr. Rogers said, be kind, and be kind. So just going to wrap it up tonight. Marcus, thank you for joining tonight. Really appreciate your input as always. Don't forget to catch Ron on Philly Drone and Ron. That show is at 9:00. It's probably started already. Mikey may start a little bit after 9. So be sure to catch that afterwards. Hopefully everybody has a great rest of your evening, and remember, it's a great day to fly, everybody. Take care.